Hello, thank you for tuning in and checking out this video. Also, thank you for all of the support on my first About Me video, and that was the one with the Cinderella pumpkin carriage. The feedback that I got was so good, and I appreciate it so much because you know how you have an idea in your head and you're like, this should be fine, this should just be okay, but then as you're doing, you're like, you start second guessing yourself a little bit. But I was really happy with the result and how it came out, so it was really dope just also getting good feedback from you all about that. So today's video is about why blogging. I started SimplyRobotix.com back in 2008 for a mail scripting class. And mail scripting, if you don't know, which is fine because it's like ancient now, it's basically a fossil. It's coding for like 3D software for like the animation programs that we use. And so we took this course my sophomore year at SVA, and funny enough, like it was being phased out. So the year after me, they didn't have to take it. They took Python instead, and Python is like the industry standard right now. But in this mail scripting class, we had to submit our homework through a website. So everybody had to get a website in order to hand in their homework. I decided to keep mine after the class because I figured I was gonna need it anyway by the time I graduated. So I just held on to it, and I liked the name, like Simply Robotix. 18-year-old me was totally for that. And that's almost crazy to think because like that was like 10 years ago, I guess, right? Wow. Moving on. So in my junior year, I took a Flash web design class, and it was helpful that I already had a .com because we also had to end up submitting our homework through the site. Like we would bring in our files and test them in class, but we also had to have them running online. So I went from having like a HTML based site, and HTML, that's all like the MySpace stuff that we used to do back in the day, and then now I had like a Flash based site. And the class was very informative. It was cool. It was great to learn all those things. But Flash is not the wave, not for me. I mean, it's pretty much, I feel like it's pretty much phased out to a certain extent now, but like Flash is super finicky and super hard, and it's like if you miss a period, or if you put an extra one, or if you put it in the wrong place, if you use a colon instead of a semicolon, if you do a forward slash instead of a backslash, you screw up your whole code, and you have lines and lines of code, and who has the time to try to be deciphering and analyzing and problem solving in that regard? Like, I don't like doing it in that sense, but there are coders out there, and they get paid very well because they're doing a job that more than enough people really don't want to do, and they enjoy it. So during that Flash a web design class, I made my site a portfolio site. So I had a lot of, or enough of, my artwork that I was producing in other classes, and that was what I had on my site. So by the end of the semester, I decided to keep the site and roll with it for a little bit. But after, I'm pretty sure by the end of the summer, it was just too much. Like again, with the trying to update it and breaking my code and trying to fix it. I just want a functional site. I just want to be able to have my artwork and stuff up there, so as I'm trying to look for internships, people can see it, and I don't have the time to deal with problem solving a broken site. So I switched to WordPress in that time. So now with my rest of my junior year and into my senior year, like every semester, at the end of every semester, I would put up my 3D animation assignments or homework. I would put up my various special effects and illustration and Photoshop works, and ultimately by the end of the semester, I'd have my reel up as well, so you can see like my digital art stuff, and then you can see like my real and motion graphics things. So that was what we had to have anyway by the end of the year of graduation. After graduation, I was a part of a handful, I feel like not that many people, but still enough people that didn't have a job straight out after college. So for like the first year after graduating, I went to a lot of networking events. I went to industry related and non-industry related networking events. I attended a bunch of panels, and I was going to the movies enough, seeing animated films. And now that I had moved my site to WordPress, like by this time, I'm pretty sure by my senior year or somewhere in the senior year, I did that. So I started to just recap these events and things that I was going to, sharing just some quotables, and maybe if I met someone or if I learned something, I started sharing it on my site. So between 2012 and 2015, my site started making a bit of a shift to like more blog posts. I was doing art challenges, so I was showing my progress, and like that's how I was holding myself accountable, was by posting to my site. And by posting to my site, I would share it on Tumblr or I shared it on Facebook and Twitter, and I was starting to build like a little community, a little getting some engagement and making friends and support through doing these type of things. And by the time of 2015, as I was doing movie reviews from attending animation festivals, some of the creators or people who worked on these films and entities would come across my posts and reach back to me and communicate. And in that sense, so that became pretty cool. In 2015, though, I would say that I went pretty, I guess, like more diligently on the blogging as opposed to like creating illustration. I'm pretty sure like I was in some sort of like an art funk and felt like I couldn't draw, so like I don't want to draw and just do other stuff. And I would start, like I said, just really recapping things that I was doing. And so when I had my interview with Blue Sky in the fall, it was pretty cool. That, but it makes sense, you know. But they had asked me about like two of the blog posts that I had there and just wanted me to talk more about the experiences. And it just felt good because in one way or another, I was using my website as a way for me to stay connected to the industry since I was having such a hard time gaining employment. When I got hired in Blue Sky in 2015, that was my first industry job, and that was like 4.5 years after I graduated, my first animation job. So by having my website and doing movie reviews and doing panel and event reviews, that was for me in a way of staying connected to the industry. And it was dope that they were talking to me about that in the interview. So I would say between 2015 and late 2017, my site pretty much was just stagnant. I really didn't have time to post as often as I wanted to. At one point I was posting once a month and I couldn't even keep that up, so I just like stopped. And the late 2017, I tried to do weekly posts and I was like okay with it. I would do about 2 to 3 weeks and then like miss a couple, and I said no, like I have to really get it together. So as the year started, I worked on posting weekly to SimplyRobotix. It's definitely become more of a post-based site. I've shifted away from just like, I guess, constantly posting my reels and things like that. I haven't even animated in such a long time, but I'm using my blog posts now as a vehicle to get back out there or like hold myself accountable again to creating artwork and art posts and animated things. And also now I'm sharing more information that I've learned thus far and sharing resources that I've come across, and still doing not music still doing movie reviews and just short reviews and stuff like that. As you guys may know, if not, you're going to know now, I do this thing, animation highlight, where I highlight just animated content around the internet that's not mainstream animation. So as for the future of SimplyRobotix, I would like it to continue moving in the direction of becoming a resource and a hub for animated related things. It's not going to be a cartoon brew. It's not going to be like a online magazine. It's not going to break news and like this here first. It's not going to be that type of entity, but it's going to be a resource that I hope in the future to start interviewing people and sharing their reviews. I'm sharing industry knowledge and experience, sharing things that I've learned that come across that I think could be helpful. I'm going to continue sharing websites and videos and all sorts of things like that. With that, I want to continue also exploring the different facets and aspects of the animation industry through this site, through this platform. I want it to become more of a space for connection, not necessarily that I want, I don't know, 50 comments on a post, but when I share it, I want conversations to start being had around the things that I'm posting through Twitter and Instagram and I don't know, Facebook, other stuff like that, even with YouTube. I want also for SimplyRobotix, as I keep growing and moving forward with it, to start having writers collaborate on the site and write for the site. And I think that would be really dope. I think that coincides with me saying like I want it to be a space of connecting. If I have other people just also sharing their experience and expectations and resources and stuff like that, having guest writers on the site could be cool. I think the future for Simply Robotics is very vast and it can really be anything. And as long as it's true to who I am as a person, and I stay true to myself as well, I have no fears about where and what this can continue to become. I'm just excited. I'm happy to be able to be working on it again, and just again the feedback from that first video was just proof, and the feedback that I'm getting from the content that I'm putting out there is just proof that like this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I really would like to continue with it. So again, this video was a bit longer than I intended, but thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and cheers to many more. Bye.